Art the Clown has recently become one of the newest horror icons in fiction, with Terrifier 3 cementing itself as the highest grossing unrated film in history. And obviously that had never really been done before, so it was awesome to see a horror film take that title. As I'm sure all of you know, I am a huge Art the Clown fan. I mean, he's literally my profile picture, by the way, if you guys haven't noticed. I loved Terrifier 3 so much that I even saw it in theaters 3 times. Wait, does that kind of make me, a weirdo, wanting to watch that much gore 3 times in a row? Well, screw it then, brother. I guess I'm weird. So with me barely making any Art the Clown content, even though I make a ton of horror content, I decided to finally ask the question, which horror characters from this list can defeat Art the Clown? And that's exactly what I'm going to be going over in this video. So the tiers are pretty self-explanatory. At the top, we have they kill Art, 50-50, which means it could literally go either way. If I put them in this category, that means it's not a win or a lose. Kinda close, which means kinda close, but inevitably Art the Clown will win, and easy kill is easy kill, of course. So starting with the GOAT himself, we have Michael Myers. Now, I used to downplay Art the Clown a lot in my other videos, but after doing a little bit more research on the character, I've learned that he is not just some low-level chump. Michael versus Art, in my opinion, is actually a lot closer than people think. As we know, by the end of Terrifier 1, Art the Clown comes back to life from his demon handler, but he can still feel pain the same way a human can. So one punch from Michael would most definitely knock him on his ass and then immediately make Art lock in. But the problem with Michael actually putting Art down for good is that it's extremely hard because Art basically cannot die at all. I mean, he literally shot himself in the face in Terrifier 1, got decapitated by a sword in Terrifier 2, and still kept coming back with his body fully regenerated because of the demon using Vicky's body. To actually kill Art though, you need to sever the connection between him and the demon. And the only person we know of right now who can really do that is Sienna Shaw. But since we're looking at this more of like a brawl instead of asking who can permanently kill who, because let's be real, all of these slashers come back one way or another, Michael would technically have the advantage here because sure, he can still feel damage, but he doesn't feel damage like Art the Clown feels damage. You can stun him, sure, but the Halloween movies have shown him enduring way more pain than Art ever has. Like when the whole mob jumped him and then he got right back up and then slaughtered every single person there. But Art doesn't really play fair either. He could just simply pull out a gun out of his bag and then gun Michael down. Sure, Michael wouldn't die, but if we're talking about a brawl, then it comes to who drops who first and who stays down. So honestly, I would really give this a 50-50, but I would lean it more towards Art the Clown. Next, we have Jason Voorhees. Jason is where things start getting really ugly for the Clowny, because unlike Michael, Jason is bigger, stronger, and just flat out more overwhelming than Art is. If Art got up close and tried any of his usual sadistic nonsense, Jason would probably beat the absolute hell out of him in a straight exchange. Art can most likely trade blows with Jason for a little while. Maybe if he busts out a chainsaw like he did in Terrifier 3, he can go the distance with Jason for a tad bit, but inevitably Jason is just far more tanky and has endured more pain than Michael and Art combined. Eventually, in my opinion, Art wouldn't be able to go the distance with Big J. But at the same time, Art has one huge advantage that makes this fight more interesting than it looks. And that's the fact that he fights like a complete rat. Art is not above using weapons or doing something completely insane that Jason would never see coming. And just like Michael, Jason has the same problem of not really being able to put down Art for good unless he somehow severs the connection between Art and the demon, which is something Jason realistically would have no clue how to do. So for me, Jason does beat Art the Clown more times than Art the Clown would beat him. You really can't say that Jason kills Art because he really can't. Next, we have Pinhead. Now, I actually think Pinhead would kill Art the Clown. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, Pinhead is literally from hell. The demon handler Art has is probably just some regular ranking demon, or, maybe it's not. I don't know, maybe Terrifier 4 gives us more backstory on that, but, I'm just going off of what we know right now. And based on that, I don't even think Pinhead would need to physically fight Art at all. He probably has enough pull in hell where if Art annoyed him too much, he could just sever the connection between Art and the demon. Pinhead really is the kind of being who could just look at the situation and shut the whole thing down without even getting his hands dirty. He'd basically be like, yo, your human is pissing me off. Stop giving him immortality or I'm dragging you back to hell, peon. And honestly, that kind of feels completely in character for Pinhead. Art is dangerous when he gets to play his own game, but against someone who has actual authority over hell level forces, I just don't see him having too much room to do literally anything. So yes, Pinhead definitely would kill Art the Clown. Next we have Sam and Dean Winchester. Now you might be saying, hey yo, Sam and Dean aren't slashers whatsoever. You're right, they aren't slashers, but they are technically horror characters, and they also literally go after demons. Hell, I mean, they even beat Lucifer. So with Sam and Dean, first of all, like any job they go on, they would have to do research on Art the Clown. They would need to figure out how to kill him, where he originated from, and all that good stuff they usually look into before, going on a hunt. Now, once they realize Sienna Shaw is the one who can kill Art the Clown permanently, the first thing they would do is show up at her front doorstep asking to help. And once they explain what they do for a living, I think she would 100% accept their help. And because they've been through stuff like this before, they could even help her bring Gabby back too, because Gabby fell down into hell at the end of Terrifier 3. Now Sam and Dean would kill Art the Clown in an absolute instant. Like, this wouldn't really be a problem for them at all. They would probably just pop his ass with a demon knife they bring on almost every hunt, which now that I think about it, I feel like the sword probably makes it even easier than using a knife, because you have more reach and stuff like that. But yeah, but the hardest part here honestly would be rescuing Gabby. Killing Art is probably like a 5-second match in my opinion. Dean would probably solo him with his hands tied behind his back if he wanted to. So after that, they would probably just hit up Jack, the newly defined god, and then tell him to scoop Gabby up from hell, and then all is well. So yeah, brother, this is completely GG's. Honestly, I would even put them over Pinhead. I'm not even gonna lie. Next we have Leatherface. Chainsaw versus Chainsaw. The battle of who could cut up who first. You've got the GOAT himself, Mr. Leatherface, and Bronze Elo Art the Clown. Who wins? Honestly, let me stop playing, because in reality, both of these guys absolutely blow with a chainsaw, if I'm being honest here. Because Leatherface just swings his chainsaw around and hopes something lands. And sometimes it literally lands on himself. Then you've got Art at the end of Terrifier 3 just spraying and praying, although Art was actually putting in some work against Sienna. But then again, she was only using a sword against a chainsaw. So, yeah, both are absolutely horrendous with a chainsaw, I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, Art is definitely the dirtier fighter of the two, and that's where things start leaning back in his favor. But if we're talking about an actual fight overall, Art the Clown is probably going to take it. So yes, honestly, I think it's kind of close, but inevitably Art the Clown will win. Next we have Freddy Krueger. Now, without a doubt, Freddy wins in the dream world. I don't even think that's a debate here at all. But what I really want to talk about is the real world scenario, because that's where it gets more interesting. Most people think Freddy is completely useless outside of the dream world, and trust me, you would be surprised how many people actually believe that. Now sure, Freddy doesn't have the same insane powers in the real world that he does in the dreamscape, but Freddy vs. Jason already showed us that Freddy is a genuine problem in the real world too. In that final sequence, he literally went toe to toe with Jason, and honestly, he low-key won that fight too, I'm not gonna lie. He was literally putting in work against Jason on Jason's own home turf, by the way. And if we're just using basic scaling here, then if Freddy can hang with Jason like that in the real world, he can absolutely handle Art the Clown too. But honestly, the funny part is that I low-key feel like Freddy would absolutely adore Art. Their methods are kind of similar when you really think about it. And I wholeheartedly believe that Freddy would just stop the fight halfway through just to say something like, yo, you want to come back to my place after this is over and torment some innocent souls with me later, perhaps? I got some crazy ass powers and I absolutely adore your work. We can make a great team here. And tell me I'm wrong, because honestly, that feels like one of the most fitting things Freddy could say to him. Of course, I feel like Freddy would kill Art just because of the dream world, 100%. Next we have Ghostface. Talk about a walk in the park for Art. I mean, at the end of the day, this is immortal versus human. That's basically GG, right? Now, I don't really know if it's GG right off the bat. No, I'm not saying Ghostface is beating Art at all, but I am saying don't count Ghostface out like he's just some complete bum. Roman Bridger is actually pretty intelligent, and I feel like he could hold his own for just a little bit. Like, obviously he's not going to get very far once Art pulls up on him, and he'd probably die pretty quickly, but I do think he can make it interesting for at least some time. And if Art tries any funny business with the old reliable gun he keeps in his bag, Roman does at least have one one advantage there because he always keeps a bulletproof vest under the costume. But then again, Art is not going to make the same mistake everyone in Scream makes and just aim for the chest. Like, by the way, every character after literally Scream 1 should know by now that you have to shoot Ghostface in the head if you actually want to put them down. It's like they're zombies or something, because body shots never really seem to do the job. And honestly, I think Art, ironically, might be one of the only intelligent ones to actually pop Ghostface in the noggin and then keep it moving. Yes, Ghostface is going to be going into an easy kill. And last but not least, we have Pennywise. The circus has officially started now, guys. 2 jesters in an epic death battle. Big P would be eating good if Art tried anything with him. But then again, Art wouldn't even taste good because he wouldn't fear him at all, nor does he have a soul. I think he doesn't have a soul. But still, regardless, if Art tastes good or not, all Pennywise would have to do is just shapeshift into whatever he pleases, or honestly, he wouldn't even have to shapeshift, he would just use the deadlights and then boom, GG, it's completely over right then and there. But yeah, this one is a huge no diff. I don't even think we have to talk about the fight because Art would just get wiped off the face of the earth. Yeah. No, he definitely kills Art the Clown 100%. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below.